At CBS, we had been contacted by the CIA. As a matter of fact, by the time I became the head of the whole news and public affairs operation in 1954, the ships had been established, and I was told about them and asked if I'd carry on with them.
We have quite a lot of detailed information, and we will evaluate it, and we will include any evidence of wrongdoing or any evidence of impropriety in our final report and make recommendations.
Do you have any people being paid by the CIA who are contributing to the national news services, AP and UPI?
Well, again, I think we're getting into the kind of detail, Mr. Chairman, that I'd prefer to handle in executive session.
Senator, do you think that you named the news organizations in your final report?
That remains to be decided.
I think it was entirely in order for our correspondents at that time to make use of CIA agent chiefs of station and other members of the executive staff of CIA as sources of information which were useful in their assessments of world conditions.
Would you say that continues today?
Well, I would think probably for a reporter it would continue today, but because of all of the revelations of the period of the 1970s, it seems to me that a reporter's got to be much more circumspect in doing it now, or he runs the risk of at least being looked at with considerable disfavor by the public. I think you've got to be much more careful about it.
In the need to develop a capacity to know what potential enemies are doing, the United States government has perfected a technological capability that enables us to monitor the messages that go through the air. Now, that is necessary and important to the United States as we look abroad at enemies or potential enemies. We must know. At the same time, that capability at any time could be turned around on the American people. And no American would have any privacy left, such is the capability to monitor everything, telephone conversations, telegrams, it doesn't matter. There would be no place to hide.
In the mid-1970s, Church gained national prominence, chairing a special Senate investigation into the CIA and other intelligence agencies.
What would we think if some other country were involved secretly in the United States, spreading disinformation, bribing our public officials, resorting to acts of coercion and blackmail, or even to attempted assassinations? Would we put up with that for a minute?
In Santiago, Chile, there was a September 11th event that had a dramatic impact on Chilean history and Chilean memory. On that day in 1973, military officers from the Chilean army and their units staged a full-scale assault on their own country. They took over radio stations, police stations, and other centers of power. In Santiago, they stormed the presidential palace, basically the Chilean White House, charged through, guns blazing, and when they were done, the president of Chile was dead. These events on September 11th for Chile begat a reign of terror led by an army general named Augusto Pinochet. Pinochet's regime remained in power for 17 years and was responsible for torture, murder, and repression. And what most Chileans did not know in 1973, and what many Americans still do not know, was that the coup of September 11th, 1973, was the work of intelligence operatives, American intelligence operatives, and they took their orders directly from the White House.
U.S. secretly created Cuban Twitter to stir unrest. That's the name of an explosive new expose by the Associated Press detailing how the U.S. government created a fake Twitter program to undermine the Cuban government. The communications network was called Zunzuneo, slang for a Cuban hummingbird's tweet. It was reportedly built with secret shell companies financed through foreign banks. The program used cell phone text messaging to circumvent Cuba's strict internet restrictions. At its peak, it drew in more than 40,000 Cubans. However, its subscribers were completely unaware they were using a U.S. government program and giving American contractors their private data to potentially use for political purposes. Perhaps most shockingly, the Cuban Twitter program was not paid for and run by a spy agency such as the CIA. Instead, it was the brainchild of USAID, the U.S. Agency for International Development, best known for overseeing billions of dollars in U.S. humanitarian aid. According to AP, documents show the U.S. government planned to build a subscriber base through non-controversial content, news messages on soccer, on music, on hurricane updates. Later, when the network reached a critical mass of subscribers, operators would introduce political content aimed at inspiring Cubans to organize smart mobs, mass gatherings called at a moment's notice that might trigger a Cuban spring, or as one USAID document put it, renegotiate the balance of power between the state and society. By 2011, USAID was paying tens of thousands of dollars in text messaging fees to Cuba's telecommunications monopoly, routed through a secret bank account in front companies. Then, toward the middle of 2012, the program vanished as mysteriously as it appeared.